Hey everybody, I decided I wanted to do some painting tonight, so I thought I would let you guys come along with me. I know the glare is on my glasses and everything, but I'm going to turn my camera around over my table and we're going to paint, just have some fun and paint some birds, okay? So I'm going to move this around this way, and this is what I have in my head anyway. I've got this painting. This actually is a sold painting that I've got to ship next week or this week. But I like this color scheme going on here. Let me turn my light up a little bit. Hang on. So I like this color scheme, and I've been using like some little reference books here that have birds, just to get the shape of some birds. And I'm gonna use my sketchbook. Now I've already sketched out a couple of ideas here. I'm pretty sure I wanna work on this one and just play around and see what happens. And I'm gonna use this as my guide for what colors I want everything to be. And this is my little, let me get my colors over here. This is my little bag of charcoals and pencils and all the things. And I couldn't find my kneadable eraser earlier, so I'm gonna try this, see if I can open this one up and use it, because I want to erase a little bit of this one up here before I get started on this one down here. I'm gonna paint these, so it's not really all that important that the sketch looks good or bad or whatever, but I just don't want it to, come over onto this page when I close it up. So I'm just gonna lighten the sketch a little like that. And I also, well, this is not very kneadable anymore. I think it's old. I also want to just remove some of this charcoal, because I know that it's gonna bleed into my paint. So I'm just gonna do it like this and get a little bit of that off before I start. And let's bring this down a little bit so you can see a little better. This is the bird I'm gonna work on tonight. And I don't know, I don't really have a major plan for this. I just felt like painting something, and so I thought it would be fun to do a bird. And I know that on this painting that I'm using as sort of my reference for color, that I started out with a pink background. So I'm gonna make some pretty and bright pink for this background. I'm gonna use a little bit of water because I'm using paper. I need a lot of water actually. There we go. It's gonna start out super bright, and then we're gonna tone it down. And I had in my head that this is gonna be a flower that the bird is perched on. So I think that's gonna be a flower, and I'm just gonna make up what color I want this bird to be because I can, and that's what I want to do. It doesn't have to look like a real bird unless that's what you're going for. Does not matter. Okay. I'm using my phone, so hopefully, I want to see if I can see you guys' comments. If you're saying something. I can't really see when I use my phone very well, but it is what it is. It has the best camera for me to use when I'm videoing, especially at night like this. So I'm just going to have to come back and answer any questions or whatever that you might have later on. So I'm using heavy bodied acrylics. Everything that I'm using is going to be acrylic tonight. And I'm going to get some of it open. And I'm going to start on my little bird, which I don't know what color. I think it's going to end up being mostly like a cream color. Or at least that's what's in my head right now. So I'm just going to kind of put in some dark areas. And of course, I'm going to come back and redo a lot of this. So that's where the middle of my flower is going to be. And I could turn this into something like a mixed media piece, which would be pretty too. I don't know. I mean, it is kind of already mixed media because I started out with the charcoal, but most of the time when I say mixed media, I'm actually referring to collage work, and that's just kind of what I've called it all these years. Let's put a little bit of blue in here. This bird, the shape that I ended up with is from this little reference book, Birds of Song and Garden. And I used this, you probably can't see it, there we go. It is a house wren, and I used that little illustration as my shape, but I'm not really following the actual markings on the bird, which may annoy some people, but I'm just playing with this to get ideas and have fun. I'm not trying to replicate something completely or make something that looks 100% realistic. I do think I'm going to use some of those markings that I can see. Just see what happens when I do that, which I may or may not like. I'm just going to try to stay really loose with it and not overdo it. Okay. That's looking cute. But I do want to add some more blue, so. Let's lighten it up a little. Okay, while this dries, I'm going to work on my background because I don't want it to be this super bright pink. But I want a little bit of that pink to show through. So I'm going to end up with more of a gray background with some pink that shows through. And then I think I'm going to make this flower down here pink that it is perched on. Let's add a little blue in there too. When you're working in a sketchbook, it helps you to come up with fun ideas, or at least it does for me. It helps me to loosen up and just play with some ideas that I might not necessarily feel comfortable doing with a canvas or anything expensive. This is my way of experimenting and playing with ideas, and I find it to be very helpful because I can just do whatever I want to and know that this is practice. Everything I do in my sketchbook is done for the purpose of practicing, and when I do it this way, when I do this, it allows me to really loosen up and allow myself to learn, because that's the whole point. Okay, let's play with this flower right here now. So I've still got some of this red, so I'm going to get some pink, but I'm going to add a little bit of raw umber to kind of tone it down. What kind of flower do I want this to be? I don't even know. I'm just kind of playing around with it. So that may be too much pink. So let's get some white. So I got the pink background. And just see what happens here. So I like the bird, but I don't like the flower. So we'll just paint over it. Just like this. And instead of putting more pink, let's go with some greenery instead. So I'm gonna mix up some green over here. So we've got all this warmth from the pink in the background, and so some green will really look good, I think. We'll see what happens. So let's do, just some really loose leaves. See, that's already better than the pink on pink on pink. I had way too much pink. And since the tail is going up over here, let's make some little leaves and branches to balance it out over here. And now we can lighten that up. Add some more things to it, maybe a little bit of blue or a little bit of that raw umber to give it some depth. And I'm gonna switch to a little brush. Let's put a little tap of white on the eye and a little bit on the top of the beak. And maybe we could do, let's see, let's do some little small blue flowers in this, I don't know, greenery we've got down here. And I've already got some blue out here, so I'll just use what I've got. And let's see, I can do it like this. We don't even have to put a lot of them either. Maybe we need a little yellow for the center. I don't like that yellow very much though. Let's go with, let's try some of this Naples yellow instead. It's more of an earthy yellow. And that is much better. And there's a quick little sketchbook birdie. I think I want to add a few little, like little vines or something. Maybe something coming out and up. So there's a whole page here in my sketchbook, and we could add some words here. You can write down the date, whatever you want to do. This was my influence palette here, which it didn't really turn out anything like that, but I still like the way this bird turned out. So I'm happy with that. So I've got another one here that I could work on later. But while I've got this idea going and I've already got my paint out, I'll just go ahead and do this one too, just because I want to. So let's do this bird in yellow. I've already got some yellow, 2 different yellows. That is super bright. I don't really have a plan for this one at all, so I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't even remember which bird I used as my guide to draw this one. I don't know which. I've got a book and I've got a little like pamphlet that had picture of different kinds of birds in it. I don't remember which one I used for this, but it's okay. So we're just going to start with that. And since I've got a yellow bird, then I think I'm going to go with a blue background this time. And let's see, actually, let's just pull this pink all the way up, because I think that will be pretty together. So I may need a little bit more red. But let's just try it and see what happens. That's kind of my theme for this whole experiment tonight, is let's just see what happens. Need some more water. And you guys, if you've got my free download that has tips about painting with acrylics, you may have read that you can use water on paper, but I don't recommend that you use very much water in your paint on canvas. Water on paper, it'll sink right in, just like this. But on canvas that's been primed with gesso, it does not. It just lays on top, and that can create a barrier and keep your paint from sticking like it should. I think I'm gonna have to clip this down to hold it. And let's see, what can we do? Let's do some more greenery. I think I'm gonna have like a branch. This right here. Just make it green. And we'll have some big leaves. Maybe something like that. And now I'm going to go over this pink with like a light gray, but I'm going to leave some edges that you'll be able to see. And you'll be able to see some of the pink coming through. Yeah, that's better, a lighter gray. You'll be able to see some of the pink background still coming through my paint strokes. And I'm going to tone down some of this yellow on this bird. He is super bright. But it does look good with this pink, actually. Okay. I'm staying loose and messy with this because that's the way I like to paint. Okay, so let's see if I can work on that green a little bit more, but I need to add some more yellow. Okay, just lighten up some of these leaves. I gotta think about what I'm gonna do with this bird, because it's gotta have some kind of markings. So I'm just gonna pick one out randomly. I like the way this one's wing looks, so we're gonna go with some dark areas on this wing. And we'll just do something like that. I'm just making it up as I go, because it doesn't matter. This is fun. Alright, I'm going to take my smaller brush and some white and mix that into some of this yellow over here. I gotta tone this guy down a little. I feel like there needs to be some kind of markings around this eye, since I'm not following an actual bird. It makes it a little harder, but I think I got it. Head just doesn't quite look tall enough, so we will fix that up. Maybe make this down here white. And those little legs need some help. Okay, so this is not my favorite bird ever, but I'm just gonna go with it. I feel like something's missing on this head. Let's look at, that one's got a dark head like this. Let's try that and see what happens. And those little markings like that. That's looking pretty good. I don't like that. The beak is a weird color. So let's go with, let's try to make some orange by mixing these two together. Need more yellow. Yeah, this one down here is much better. Just not happy with this little yellow guy at all. But that is what happens when you're working in your sketchbook sometimes. And if I only showed you everything that I did that was successful, then that would not be very honest, would it? Because I make things that I don't like all the time. But it's just paint, and we can go over it and redo it. And a lot of times it works out even better the next time. See, that's already looking better. Okay. I'm gonna let that dry a little bit, and I'm gonna work on some little white flowers. Let's just do, they don't have to be little, they can just be something like this. Okay, and the center, I want the center to be like a pretty orangey, yellowy. Let's add some more of this Naples yellow. Ooh, that was a lot. I'm gonna use this yellowy orange color on here too. I think that will help with this beak that I'm not happy with. Okay, let's see if we can put an eye in there without messing it up. Okay, I'm gonna call him okay, but not my favorite. But I have a feeling that the more I keep playing with it, the less I'm gonna like it. But that was a fun little sketchbook session. So we did this bird first, and then we did this one with, I like the flowers here the best, but I like the bird here the best. And so now what I could do is, if I wanted to put this on a canvas, I can replicate this bird design, but change these blue flowers and put those flowers. That was a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's been a while since I just did a spontaneous live video just for the fun of it. So hopefully this will inspire you to work in your sketchbook too and get your paint out and see what you can come up with. So like I said, these, of course, they don't have to be perfect. They never are perfect when I do things. But these can be jumping off points for you, just to give you an idea of something that you could do just to play with in your sketchbook that could turn into something else later that could be even better. So I will see you guys next time.